Hi, my name is Ed Wehan. Welcome to this episode of Our Ventura. Today I have an exciting individual to talk about Ventura Harbor and the Ventura Port District, something many of us who live here in Ventura really don't know that much about. So I have with me Oscar Pena. Oscar, thanks for being here today.
Well, thank you for the invitation.
Maybe we could start this off by giving a little bit of an overview of the harbor, maybe a little bit of the history and stuff.
Sure. You know, interestingly, the Port District is an independent special district, which means we're not part of the city of Ventura, we're not part of the county. And it was established by a group of boaters who were interested in having a harbor in Ventura. And so they went through the process of getting legislation to become a special district in the early 50s, and it was approved by a majority of the voters in Ventura. The harbor was then developed, and being a special district, you have the right to borrow money, to enter into long-term agreements, and to develop. And so that's all of those things that we're allowed to do, we do today. We have a 5-member board. They're all volunteers. They're selected by the City of Ventura. You know, Jim Friedman is our chair. Our vice chair is Ed Ashworth. We have Greg Carson, who is a past chair. We also have Bruce Smith and Commissioner Valance. He's our newest board member. But you know, this is one of those places that was in the hearts and minds of Venturans, and they made it happen. We're happy about that, and you know, today we operate both the recreational and commercial fishing harbor, and you know, the majority of our revenues are collected from those real estate transactions that we enter into with the mobile home park or with the marinas or boat yards. And so we have a budget of about $8 million a year, and about $1 million of that comes from property taxes. We get a small share of that. But you know, and our expenses are about $6 million. So we run a pretty tight ship. There's not a whole lot of give there.
Right. Obviously for the city of Ventura and for our area, the harbor has a significant economic impact. I mean, it is an area that we're all aware of. Maybe you could talk a little bit about, say, to start with, on the tourism side of this thing.
Sure. Well, you know, we like to think that the Ventura Harbor is like one of the premier tourist destinations in our city. And it is for a lot of reasons. I mean, you know, boaters have the opportunity for that recreation, both inside of the harbor and out. There's a lot of, you know, non-motorized type of boating activity, again, inside and outside of the harbor. You have shops and restaurants at Harbor Village, some office space there. We have a very diverse kind of mix in the harbor. It's a blessing in the sense that, you know, we're not dependent on just one industry. The mobile home park, I've mentioned, you know, provides a very steady stream of income and a great source of just people that live in the harbor. We have a new development that's coming on board in the next 3 years with Sonderman Ring Partners in the northeast part of the harbor, and that'll be a 300-unit apartment complex, for rent apartments, about 20,000 square feet of retail, and a marina.
Well, that'll be a big impact for the local.
It'll provide a great economic impact for our existing business operators in the harbor. I mean, to have a population that would be somewhere, you know, let's say 500 to 800 people. You know, we also have a lot of liveaboards in the harbor.
Right.
You know, we have a population of about 300 liveaboards or more.
People who live right there in the harbor.
People that live on their boats. And, you know, there's about 1,200 slips in the harbor. And there's 2 marinas, Ventura West Marina and Oceans West Marina, that actually provide a liveaboard component of about 50% of their slip count. So every other slip is afforded a liveaboard opportunity.
And there's obviously several hotels in your area as well, and they all produce TOT, tourism occupancy tax, that goes to the city as well, which is an economic benefit to everything. I think there's some expansion occurring in that area as well.
Yes. Yes, in fact, the Holiday Inn Express is probably in the final phase at the Design Review Committee. and they're going to be expanding those rooms with another 40 rooms. Right. And, you know, we're really happy. Those people who stay at our hotels in the harbor can come into the harbor, park their car, enjoy activities, going to the Channel Islands on island packers, whale watching, go on dive boats if they want, or sport fishing boats in the harbor.
Sport fishing, I go out of there.
And, you know, you can come back in the afternoon or after a weekend at the park, at the national park, and enjoy the shops in the harbor. You don't have to get back in your car until it's time to go home.
Yeah. One thing that many of our viewers may not be aware of, or that aware of, is the business side of the harbor, from a sense of all of the repair work, all the fishing boats, the commercial business side of that is pretty significant as well, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what, we like to think of the kind of services we offer as a bundle of services. We have a commercial boatyard that has a capacity to lift up to 50, was it, yeah, 50, no, about 50, well, it's over 50, I think it's 50 tons of, you know, so that's really for the larger vessels. And then there's another boatyard that has a capacity of about 30 tons in the northeast side of the harbor. But at Harbor Village, for example, you have a full-service boatyard, you have a full-service fuel dock, you have a self-service boatyard. And so for the commercial fishermen, having the boatyard and the fuel dock there, I mean, that's part of the attraction that brings them to the harbor. We have about 35 to 40 large purse-seine vessels that call the Ventura Harbor their home.
Right.
So there's a heritage of commercial fishing there. But it's beneficial because they see those kind of, we have those benefits. We have a 200-foot long, you know, fish pier for offloading, 2 hoists, and, you know, for the convenience, it's all there for the commercial fishermen. Now, the challenge that we've had lately is that just the warmer waters.
Right.
And,
no squid.
And there's no squid. And so since 2013, rather, it's been sort of a slow season. The squid have moved further north in cooler waters. But even this year with El Nino, it's just not happening right now.
Yeah, it's a big challenge. What do you see as for the harbor, for you, you know, some of the major challenges that might be occurring? I know every year dredging's an issue, and
well, dredging is one of those things where annually we have to work with Congress to obtain funding, and we need about $7 to $8 million a year to dredge adequately the harbor entrance. It's a federal channel, so fortunately it's not our responsibility, and that's why we do get federal funds for that. But you know, this past year, in 2016, we had a problem because there was 3 months where the harbor was compromised, the entrance was compromised. And that had an impact on island packers and some commercial fishing boats and others, recreational boaters. And you know, fortunately, we had a really good dredging period. We were able to get additional money. So altogether, this past year we had $7.3 million. And as you know, with the El Nino storms, a lot of the sand that came from the north came into our harbor entrance. So if you look at the, you know, around the pier, there's something missing. It all went into our harbor.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing,
interesting,
you know, to look at that. Just 2 other entities that I wanted you just to comment on, because they are so important to not only, I think, the harbor, but the community in general, and that is Island Packers and Channel Islands National Park, which is headquartered in the harbor.
Sure. Well, again, you know, with the national park, you know, we call the headquarters, you know, home of the Channel Islands.
Right.
And, you know, we're fortunate that every year they have about 350,000 visitors to the visitor center. And with Island Packers, we're just blessed that they're in the Southwest Harbor area. And it's amazing how much they've grown over the last 10 years.
Yeah, I bet you've seen that occur.
We've seen that. Yeah. I mean, you know what, we're getting to a point where, you know, we're looking for new parking areas because, you know, our businesses are improving overall in the village. But more importantly, is Island Packers is just growing. They are probably our anchor tenant in the harbor, aside from like the hotels.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it's because they offer great whale watching services, trips to the island, and you know, we're in that period right now this summer where you have 55,000 people going to the Channel Islands. And you know, how do they get there?
Yeah,
it's with Island Packers.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that it's a family, local family that has been in business for probably 30 years.
Yeah.
And it's tremendous how much they've grown.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we've all tried to take advantage of that, and it is so much fun to be able to do all of that. You know, every year I know there's attractions, things that occur in the harbor.
Sure.
Like, you know, the holiday Christmas parade. Maybe, and I know throughout the summer you have events that occur there. Maybe.
Sure. You know, this summer we have something different in the sense that we're trying to work with our retailers and restaurateurs, trying to encourage more midweek business. And so we're going to have children's activities and summer camps for children from like 8 to 16, and then you know, for the adults we're going to have Wet Wednesdays where there's food and entertainment and some alcohol, I'm sure, you know, for them, you know, every Wednesday through the summertime. And then we have, you know, regular summer concert series on the weekends. And, you know, really, I think if you have guests that you're going to entertain at your house, you're going to come to the harbor.
Right.
Because we have events 52 weeks out of the year.
Yep.
And so, and if you're not sure where you want to eat, there's, you know, 12 or 13 restaurants that you could enjoy at the harbor.
Yep.
And so, really, it just makes it easier for our local residents and visitors that are coming from out of town to just have a great time.
And you have a beach there, you have beaches, you have lifeguards.
We do. We're probably one of the few beaches that has an overabundance of sand.
Yeah.
And, you know, a few years ago, probably about 5 to 8 years ago, we started, you know, funding the lifeguard services at a point where the city just was running short of money.
Right.
And we're happy to do that. Our board has approved that over the last 5 or 6 years. And I have to tell you, we're just so happy they're there because I think for the benefit of the public and public safety. Right. It's probably, I mean, it's always a challenge when you have a lot of people on the beach, but there's some security that you have lifeguards there. Sure. And you have, by the way, new excellent volleyball courts, which I observed. Absolutely. So there's a lot of activity going on down there, that's for sure. You have the Harbor Patrol, which comes under your responsibility as well, that handles not only the harbor, but I've seen them down at the Ventura Pier even every now and then doing things. So, so maybe you could, we're coming to the end here now. Tell people where they can go to get further information and to read about the harbor. Sure. You know, if you go to our website, www.venturaharbor.com, you know, it has a schedule of events and activities. It also gives you a little background of what you and I have talked about today. Right. And so I would encourage you know, viewers to go on our website and just see how you can plan your weekends. Yeah. It's great. I enjoyed the website. Well, Oscar, thanks so much for spending time here with us today. It's really been enjoyable and informative. And thanks to all of you for being here. And hopefully you enjoyed this show, and we'll look forward to seeing you again in the future.